welcome to another episode of the American Operator Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Bunderson. With me tonight is Jordan Williams and our special guest, Doug Day from the Day Mountain Ranch. Tonight we will be talking about all things ELR, which means extreme long range shooting, or extreme long range.
Yep.
Yeah, shooting at the end. Anyway, so real quick, we'll have Doug introduce himself, kind of tell us a little bit about him and his operation here at the Day Mountain Ranch.
Yeah, so we're located in southeast Idaho, outside of Preston in Franklin County. And we built the resort here. We're in one of the cabins. We accommodate group events primarily. And we have shooting facilities here with a gun club and 5 gun ranges here on site. Our property is about 23, almost 2,400 acres. And we have ranges that go out to 2 miles. So we hold matches. We do a lot of events here. We have corporate groups that come, gun companies that will come and use our facility to do product demo, product launch, catalog stuff, matches, training, all kinds of stuff. So that's our facility.
Okay, tell us a little bit about your history with firearms, kind of what makes you tick, some of the things that you've done in the firearms.
Yeah,
industry.
so I grew up loving shooting. We shot a little bit as a youth with my dad and brothers. I'm the youngest of 6 kids and 5 of us boys. And we'd shoot a couple times a year, and I couldn't get enough of it. I loved it. I was in high school. I did a lot of machining, and I wanted to be a gunsmith and didn't really know how to get in that industry. Ironically, I contacted Browning at one point, and they told me, it's a dying breed, don't worry about it, when I was young. So kind of came full circle after construction development in my career. I wanted to have a facility where we could shoot a lot more. And during that time, I was collecting guns and shooting and wanting to compete. And so started in the competition world about 7-8 years ago. Hooked up with some people doing PRS and just couldn't get enough of it, and started building out our facilities here. And now I'm in deep doing ELR and kind of drink the Kool-Aid. So love it.
Awesome. So what's some other activities you've done with firearms fighters competition besides ELR and PRS?
Yeah, so I actually, you helped me get into 3-gun, which is really fun. I haven't done a competition in over a year on that, but that was a new thing for me to deal with the 3 disciplines together. Loved it. That was really fun, much more dynamic. Move and shoot. I thought that was just really cool. I've done training here and there with pistol. Haven't done any pistol specific competitions myself, but at some point I might dabble in that. It just, anything with a trigger I love to do.
Right.
We've done quite a bit of rimfire competitions here, hunter matches, like I said, PRS, ELR field style, ELR traditional light, traditional heavy, and so just different disciplines, and tactical is something we could do up here as well.
Right. Yeah, I did meet you at a 3-gun match a couple years ago, and one of the reasons why I'm shooting rifles now is because of your advice that you gave me that it would make me a better, 2-gun, 3-gun shooter, and it absolutely has, but I've actually kind of moved away from that as much as I was and moved more towards long-range shooting. So
Gotcha.
I got you to thank for that. Yeah. Yeah, I think every long-range gun I bought pretty much has come from your place. So bought my first MPA, and that was in a 6.5 Creedmoor. And then you were hosting your first ELR match, and ended up buying a custom 300 Win Mag that you had purchased. So that's worked out great.
Good.
Absolutely love that gun. So yeah, seems like a lot of guys will move from like the USPSA multi-gun, and once they kind of settle in on rifles, that's kind of becomes their new passion. We heard that a lot, didn't we, at the Tony Cowden training,
Yep.
especially the first day with pistols. Most of those guys there were buddies with Aaron Gines from Anarchy Outdoors, and they all said the same thing. Yeah, we were USPSA shooters, and now we're into PRS and that sort of thing, and so they came to take the class, kind of refresh, on their pistol stuff. So anyway, that seems to be a thing. I know.
There's a rewarding feeling doing the ELR and long range shooting versus a USPSA match. I don't know what it is, but like for me, I got hooked into that longer range shooting versus the USPSA, different crowd.
Yeah, I honestly fought it for a long time. My kids were like, "Dad, you got to get a rifle. You got to get a rifle." And I'm like, "No." I mean, I liked the fast-paced stuff. I really did.
Right.
And I was just like, "Nope, this is where I'm sticking." And anyway, and then went to that match that you were at, and anyway, and then bought my first rifle, and now it's like,
Got you hooked.
yeah, that's all we want to do nowadays, and.
Well, I love all disciplines that you can get into a shooting. I haven't done F class. I haven't done, bench rest. I haven't done any of that, which is interesting to me, but I haven't gone down that road. It's not something that's as popular around here. But, the pistol matches, the multi-gun matches are very dynamic. I love the feel of them. And you've got to really think through very rapidly and run and go and think through your game plan and execute that game plan. So I think it develops a certain range of skills and thought pattern that are different than ELR, certainly. And there's a little bit of resemblance to PRS in the sense that you're under a time constraint with PRS, you're trying to move positions, although you're using one gun instead of multi. And that's fun because you're shooting further distance. When you're able to hit targets at long distance and that steel rings out, I don't know, it's just an adrenaline dump.
Yeah, absolutely. The American operator theme is what we want to do is we want more people to become like special forces, have high skills in all those disciplines, pistol, carbine, long range rifle, have those abilities, because that way, we will have a more secure union, And so, that's one of the things we're trying to do is to inspire people to get out, get the training, go to the USPSA matches, go to the 2-gun matches. That's great stuff. But learn long range rifle too, because that's what special forces guys do. And, that just makes for a better all around shooter. My pistol shooting and my carbine have gone way up, since, learning more about ballistics and, how the gun operates and what happens when the gun goes off. It all matters, and then also competing in those disciplines shows you what is possible. One thing that has just blown my mind is the hunter matches, where, my wife and I have been ROing some of those for you. And the last match that we helped RO, at one of the stages, you had a bobcat target at 900 yards. And you either got to shoot that off of a tripod or, try to get stable enough. And you learn in a big hurry that you can shoot little teeny targets at a very long distance, And if you don't go to a competition and see that and experience it, then you're going to be limited in your understanding. So.
It teaches you ballistics, certainly, but it also teaches you in that mix wind.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the environmental factors that go into the flight of that bullet, what resistance it has, and how that bullet's going to react given those environmental conditions. And at that stage, probably you had a left to right wind, a little bit of an updraft.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys that were missing high were probably not accommodating for the updraft. And if they were off to a side, well, they were calling the wind wrong. And you learn real quick when you're trying to shoot a small target at a great distance how much effect that wind has on your bullet.
Right. And there was
It's
also
pretty
pretty good
incredible.
angle.
Yeah, there was. I think that was probably a 6 degree or
Yeah.
7 degree
Yep.
angle at least,
Yep, sounds about right.
which some of those we get to 20 plus degree angles on some of that shooting. And boy, it makes a difference.
Yeah. So there's been some training here on your ranch for high degree, or what's the word? What am I looking for?
High angle.
High angle shooting. Yeah. Some special forces guys have come in, right?
Yeah, we've been very fortunate to be able to host some extremely cool events. We had the Mountain Team Sniper Challenge. You were in that. Fantastic event. The guys at Kinetic Comps put that on, Craig Jordan and Ryan. Those guys were phenomenal, and their whole team were incredible, all the ROs. And they brought in all these special forces guys that were extremely competitive in two-man teams. We had a few civilian teams, and you guys were doing really well, considering these guys are pretty intense, trained,
Right.
you know, some of our most elite soldiers out there that were competing. But Ryan came back. He did specifically a camp dealing with high angle, dealing with all kinds of stuff. And that was really cool as well. Very neat to be able to get out there and see what happens with the bullet as you're going either high degree down, high degree up, and how that changes your calculation.
Right. Yeah, it was definitely an eye opener. Figured out in a big hurry I got to get better from shooting off of a tripod. Mm-hmm. That's definitely one of the things I'm focusing on right now. So,
I think that's a underutilized skill in shooting is tripod work, especially if you're going to use it in an application like actual hunting. But doing those hunting matches, we set up many of the stages with a requirement that you either need to go off a tripod or you're not going to hit that target.
oh,
And they're enough of a distance, like you're talking about, that, I mean, they could be 500 yards, it's relative size of targets. And you're not going to be stable unless you're on a tripod. And we put the shooting positions in places where you can't go prone. And you'd have to have a pretty ridiculous bipod to get up that high. And if you are, then you've got no support behind you, and a tripod does a lot better. And we've had guys that have come in, never used a tripod before, and the first couple of stages they were struggling, and by the end of that match they're like, I'm going to always use a tripod. This was incredible. I learned how to use a tripod on these hunter matches, and I think it's an invaluable skill.
I do too. Let's talk about the events you've got coming up next year as far as your ELR matches, and and then we'll go into maybe talk about these guns. As far as I know, this is probably the most technologically advanced system for ELR.
Yeah, we'll get into that for sure. So our matches, we put on quite a few matches each year ourselves, and we also have groups that come in and put on matches that we then support on the backside. But we have one of our biggest matches each year. We call it Redemption at the Ranch. A buddy of mine who's a gunsmith up in Pocatello, very good shooter, Justin, kind of recommended that name and it stuck. And so we're using that name, Redemption at the Ranch. We've done it now for 3 years. And that weekend, which is Memorial Weekend, we are doing ELR light, ELR heavy, ELR field style, and then on Memorial Day, a hunter match. And so all weekend long, we're doing matches. And people will come and stay here at the ranch. Our cabins are full, cottages are full, people camp, RVs and all that kind of stuff. It makes it really nice being right here on the ranch and be able to not have to travel in the morning before going and competing. We feed everyone all weekend. Actually, you and your wife were instrumental in helping us the last 2 years on getting everybody fed, everybody taken care of, and it's a lot of fun. So this next year in May, in 2026, we are adding the ELR light, a traditional ELR light match. So do you want me to explain
That would be great.
differences?
Yeah. Explain everything.
So if you look at, I don't know if it's the correct terms, what I think of traditional ELR, your format is typically you're in one location. You're not moving to different stages. You're typically in one spot. And you will engage targets from that spot. And you will, one of the most typical, you'll have maybe 6 targets overall. You'll shoot 5 rounds per. Now, it could vary. Some matches may have 8, could have whatever. But the way we run them, typically, you'll have 6 targets, 5 rounds per target. You'll shoot either 2 or 3 targets per session. And then you rotate, everybody rotates, and then you shoot the next set. And you have spotters that will help you. So you're not on your own. You have people that will help call your shots. And you're actually behind the scope, behind the glass, while the 1 or 2 people before you are shooting. So you're getting ready, watching them shoot before you even shoot. And so it changes the dynamic of the whole match. You compare that to a PRS match, for instance. You're in the background watching people, but you're not behind glass. You can't get behind the glass until you're up there on the firing line and the clock is going. And so it's different. You have typically more time. So it's all about ballistics, reading the wind, reading your conditions, making sure your load is correct, and having your spotters help you get on target. And sounds easier that way, theoretically, but it will definitely try you. It's not easy. You're shooting at longer distances. So there's typically a light class, which is 33 cal and under. And then there's a heavy class, which is typically you're shooting a 375 and up to a 50 cal. And then there's weight limits on the gun. So King of 1 mile and King of 2 mile are pretty well known now down in Texas and in New Mexico. So this year, we're set up now to be qualifiers for those matches. And we'll have the regulations set up with cameras and so forth so that we're qualifying people for it. The distances, what we're going to have is starting out maybe 700-800 yards out to about 22 to 2,400 yards for our light class. So that's your light, ELR light. And then for ELR heavy, which is, like I said, typically you're shooting a 375 and up. Some people will do it with the 33, but that's a little light. We start out at about 1,900 yards and go out to about 2 miles, just over 2 miles. There are matches that go out further, but our facility will go out 2 miles. And so that's the ELR heavy. So we'll do the ELR light on Thursday before Memorial, ELR heavy on Friday, and then Saturday, Sunday will be at ELR field style, which is what I would kind of say is in between PRS and traditional ELR. It's on the clock, a little bit faster. You're shooting typically 4 different targets, 1 to 2 rounds per target. If you have a first round impact, the target's dead, you move on. If you miss, you could try for half the points. And then if you miss, you still move on. So you have 4 targets, you shoot 4 to 8 rounds if you have enough time. And our target distances range from about 750, most of them within about 1,600 yards, although we do have a long bomb at 2310, just one target that's out at that distance. And that's a 2-day match. So you're shooting 16 stages, and so you have a lot more rounds you're shooting over 2 days.
That sounds like fun.
It is fun.
It's a lot. You've done it twice now?
3 times.
3 times. What'd you think?
Oh, loved it. Loved it. You know, one thing that's very unique about this facility is that you can shoot 16 stages and not move, not like walk further than 20 yards to the next stage, you know, and then the angles are totally different. You know, you get high angles and low angles. I mean, it's just phenomenal. And then I think you explained to me once that your match is probably one of the most technical matches that there is. Do you want to talk about that a little bit? What makes it more technical?
Yeah, so we kind of modeled ours after some really phenomenal matches, if people have heard of them. One is the Night Force match. Pete and Tad put that on outside of Casper, Wyoming. And then there's another match, they call it the KRG Extreme. Brett Anderson's the match director there, and he and his team put on a phenomenal match there. So our match is somewhat modeled after theirs. They do, hands down, just phenomenal matches. They sell out. They're incredible. They're both in Wyoming. One's outside of Cheyenne, one's outside of Casper. And so I go to those typically each year. I have for quite a few years and really enjoy those. And we wanted to provide a match that was more local to us, even though we do have people come from all over the U.S. now to come to those matches. But we just need to expand the opportunity for people to shoot ELR, in my opinion, and shooting in general. So we put on that match, and like you said, the shooting locations are all really close to each other. So that's a treat. If you've gone to Night Force, the walking alone will kick your butt. And that's part of the difficulty of it, is walking stage to stage and getting around. That can be trying. It adds to the complication of the match. But we technically, I think our targets are a little more challenging in the sense that we have more angle, up-down angle. So we go -9 to +9 degree. And then we're shooting about 240 degrees of direction. So you're getting different wind conditions. And then most of your shooting is over canyons. So you have 1 or 2 canyons that you're shooting over with any given shot. And the winds will definitely be tricky.
It's kicked my butt.
The winds will get you, right?
Within a few seconds of one person shooting, no, it's going this probably about left to right, maybe 2 mils, and then you're up and it's 5 mils, 6 mils plus, and then it goes back to 1 mil.
From one shot to the next, it could definitely vary. And the winds are challenging in Wyoming for sure. I mean, they're no joke. You get out there and do the KRG and Night Force matches, and the winds are challenging. I think our winds are different in the sense that we're going over a higher elevation. So if you're shooting, you're getting a little bit of a dip in terrain out of those other matches, and so the winds may sweep through the terrain, but your elevation, your bullet is not rising above the ground too much more than just the arc of the bullet naturally, because you're not shooting much of an angle. Here, you're shooting over a canyon, so the bottom will drop out and you'll have 200-300 feet underneath. Beyond the arc of your bullet, you're going to have another couple hundred feet down, and then the winds are channeled through those canyons, so that you may feel the wind at your location, and it may feel one way as it's going over that canyon, it's going to be totally different. And of course, the wind changes the higher altitude you are, off the ground, I should say, because the drag from the ground. So when you're going over a canyon that's 300 feet deep, the winds are totally different. And that's part of the challenge, is you're getting all these wind conditions with it.
Yeah, that's definitely who reads the wind the best.
Right.
You know, and so there'll be times when, you know, you're just holding straight up and you're good to go. And then there's other times I think on average, I shot that match with my 6.5 Creedmoor. I probably won't do that again, you know, but I did okay. I was holding about 8/10, you know, to the left almost the whole day. Whereas Zach Quintana, you know, him and I were exchanging notes, and he was holding about 3 to 5, you know, so anyway, yeah.
But you shoot from one side to the other side, your winds are completely opposite too. So you may have to all of a sudden rearrange your thinking, going, well, I mean, normally I hold left, now I got to hold right because I'm shooting from the other side of the mountain.
Right. Yeah, and on your match too, I mean, there's some very small targets. One of my proudest moments, and I still remember this like it was yesterday, I hit 2 9-inch rounds at 1,300 yards. You know, like I shot my first one and I went over it, and I just immediately corrected, got my second round impact, and then there was another one right next to it, and I got, you know, first round impact on that one. It's like, that's where it's at, you know.
Yeah.
So
that's a dopamine dump right there.
Oh yeah, I'm still living on it. You know,
it's the best thing you could do. It's it's pretty amazing being able to hit those targets, and you see that steel move, and then you get that audio report back of that metal. It's like, wow, I just did that. Right,
and I think that's where a suppressor comes in now. Mm-hmm. You know, so you can have that, what do they call that? Anyway, the
sound suppression, so that you could hear your
so you get the confirmation. Yeah. You know, so anyway, let's go into this particular rifle here. Explain what you got going on.
So this is my ELR light rig. I'll use it for ELR light as well as ELR field style. And it's chambered in a 300 Norma mag. I really like the 300 Norma. I like the 300 Win mag as well. I think the 30 cal is just a great caliber for those distances. 7mm is also really good. There's a lot of people. My son uses 7mm, or 28 Nosler, you know, is another same thing. But I personally really have enjoyed the 300 Norma mag. You have a little less barrel life than a Win mag. Anyway, so this is set up with a Accuracy Solutions chassis. So it's pretty unique chassis. Those that are in the ELR world are becoming more and more familiar with them. They have built-in bipod extenders that are built into them. You can buy a bipod extender that clamps onto your gun as well. So in the ELR world, I don't know of many people that will shoot without using a bipod extender. It changes the setup of your gun. It changes the recoil impulse. It changes the way that the gun feels, the stability of it, because it just stretches out your base is what it's doing. And as the gun fires, it just absorbs the recoil differently and has a totally different feel to it. So normally you'd have your bipod here, and with this you could extend the bipod even further out, but this is usually where I have mine. And it just has an amazing feel to it. So that's my setup. This year, I started back using a suppressor in competition for my ELR light. Years ago, I swore them off. I said I wouldn't use them again in competition because there's too much recoil management that you have to do. and you want to see your impacts. If you don't see your impacts, you're in trouble because you've got to know where your miss was or if you hit, so that you could follow that up, because you don't have spotters on field style. And even if you do have a spotter, if you could see it, it's much better. But one of the guys in our clubs, he developed these brakes that go on your suppressors. His company is called Recoil X, and they're phenomenal. They work really well. He did the R&D here at the ranch, and they've taken off. So in the PRS world, now they're becoming extremely popular, and I think they're getting more popular in the hunting world and possibly in the ELR world. But they basically give you the advantage of having a brake and use your suppressor. So this year I've started using a suppressor again in competition, and I could see my impacts even if I'm 300 yards away. I could see the impact because I'm still flat shooting and I don't have muzzle jump like I do with just a suppressor. So it's a game changer. So Recoil X is phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm running one of those on my energetic armament suppressor.
Yeah.
Pretty much anymore, I kind of hate to run anything without it.
Right.
So
if you're using a suppressor, it's the way to go. It changed, like hunting now. Well, my hunting rigs all have those on. My class guns, when I teach ELR shooting here, they all have those Recoil X brakes on.
nice. Yeah, I have a Sig Cross, extremely light gun, and when I first got it, it's pretty hard to shoot.
Right.
It really is.
A lot of recoil.
Tons of recoil because it's so light.
Yeah.
I was getting ready for that sniper match, and Kaysen actually got some built for the energetic armament suppressors just before that. And that's just changing that made that gun so that I could actually see my misses or whatever, just tamed it down. And that gun is now a 1 MOA gun at 1,200 yards.
Wow.
So, yeah, little 18-inch barrel, So,
The suppressor tames it, but then the brake balances that out and brings it back to recoil management.
yeah.
Pretty incredible. Yeah, Kaysen Anthony, he's the one that has Recoil X, and he developed a new brake that he's just launching right now. Guys in the PRS world, some of them have already gotten them, and they're designed more for like the 6mm and a lot of those in the PRS. He designed one specifically to handle the recoil of those guns. But these work universally on. I use this on everything from 6mm, even 22 like Dasher or GT, 6mm Creed, all the way through to my 300 Norma.
Yeah, they're fantastic. It's amazing how technology has advanced so much just in the last couple years. The first year we shot your match, we had 2 338 Lapuas in the match. And there was most of the people in our squad I shot with your boy Drew. He was shooting a 338. Miles was shooting a 338. Nathan was shooting a 338. And nobody's shooting a 338 anymore. Everybody's gone to a 30 cal or a 7mm of some sort. So just with the advancements of technology over the last couple of years.
Right. There's so many good bullets out there that fly well, and you get the right load, you get the right bullet, you make sure you have a good barrel on your gun, and you're in good shape.
And it doesn't actually have to be a $9,000 setup either.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
Well, that makes me feel better.
Yeah. Don't let the sticker shot keep you from coming and shooting a match. You still got to be able to read wind.
Yeah, I mean, your first match, you shot a 6.5 Creed, and you held your own with that. Drew shot, I think one year, didn't he shoot his 22 GT?
Yeah.
I think it was 2 years ago. He was trying to prove a point,
Oh, yeah?
And I put a challenge out there, and I said, anybody who beats his score gets a little prize. And there were a few guys that came up, some guys that weren't going to go claim the prize, but he held his own.
He did.
With that. And you're thinking, holy cow, how is he doing that at 1,600 yards with a 22 GT? Pretty tough in the wind, and that thing destabilizes as it gets out there, but he was doing okay for the caliber.
He did really well, actually.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
And the 6.5, you know, I have a lot of guys that will come and shoot that match with a 6.5, and there's some guys that have done really well. Mm-hmm. You know, you could do it, and you're going to fight the wind a little bit more. You're going to fight bullet stability on some of those more distant targets, but you could usually hold your own. If you step up and do a 7mm 30 cal, you're probably going to have a little bit more bullet stability with the right bullet out there, but you could do it. And you don't have to have an expensive rig. I've had a lot of guys that come with their dad's gun, kind of grandpa's gun, whatever it is, and do pretty well. It's all about getting behind the gun, getting stable, and knowing your
Right.
your dope.
And you don't have to have a $2,000 Night Force scope either.
Right.
You know, the
Right. Arc and scope. I run those on some of my competition rigs. Just it depends upon what I'm doing, but you know, for the money, I don't know that you could beat it, and you know, you're going to do pretty well. So a lot of scopes out there.
Well, I would say most people probably cannot outshoot that scope. You know.
Right. Yeah. It comes into where your poor lighting conditions. You need to have the coatings that are on a Zeiss or on a ZCO or a Leupold or Night Force, where the glass is going to be better, so you have more clarity. You're going to have better coatings, so it will make the color variations really stand out. Mm-hmm. But under normal conditions, they're going to do fine.
Yep.
Yeah. So I really recommend people start with what you got, or borrow what you can, and come shoot a match. Don't worry about I'm going to look silly or whatever. Just come and shoot it, and you'll have fun, and you'll learn, okay, this is what I can do to improve, and do I really need to spend the money? Maybe I'll, over time, kind of build up my gun, but come and shoot.
Yeah, I think the first step is actually getting to the match, and deciding that you're going to do it. One of the best things I ever did was just like, heck yeah, let's do it. I mean, I never shot, oh God, past maybe 1,000 yards. And that was very limited till, from the first time we shot a match. But man, what we learned on that first match and every match since is just priceless, So.
One thing I really have appreciated in the shooting community and the competition community is how accepting everybody is. And you have a new shooter, it doesn't matter what match. If I go to a PRS match, if I go to a ELR match or a field style or three-gun match, if there's a new shooter, everybody just takes them under their wing and say, hey, let me help you out. Yeah. What can we do to help you? And they'll share equipment, they'll share advice. And if that person who's shooting is willing to accept that advice, it's like having private lessons right there at the match. I think it's one of the cheapest way to have private lessons is jump in a match, and you have a bunch of professional shooters, if you will, competitive shooters who are right there helping you the whole way through. Right. Even if you don't hit many targets, you've probably come out of that learning an incredible amount. And nobody's gonna worry about your score. If you're the guy in last place, nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're, down, at the bottom. You care because you have your pride, but nobody's going to bat an eye. Nobody's going to look down on you. And that's something that I've really appreciated. When I went to my very first match, it was a PRS match. It was during the winter. It was over Blue Creek. And I had met Justin Lindenbach, and I was scared to death. I had no idea what to expect. And I had a pretty decent gun, and I was shooting okay at my own, range here. And I'm like, I just don't know what to expect. You just come out and shoot. And I went to that match, and it was horrible weather, deep snow, awful, but everybody was awesome. Everybody that was there were super nice. I didn't shoot very well, but I learned a ton. And I walked away going, that was an amazing experience, and I want to do it again. And I've been hooked. I mean, I knew I wanted to compete, but that really helped me a ton. And going there with someone helped, but then once I was there, everybody else was just so accepting.
Yep. Yeah, that's been my experience as well. So show us the bullets.
Yeah, so
the rounds.
We've got a couple other guns here, some of my ELR heavy guns, and we can bring those up or whatever. But so just as a frame of reference, that's a typical AR round, 223, what a lot of people are used to. And that's the 300 Norma, a little bit bigger, 30 cal and a bigger case. It has a Norma bolt face, Lapua bolt face, and that's what I'm shooting. And the 300 Win Mag is shooting potentially the same bullet, same diameter, but you could shoot the same bullet basically out of a Win Mag or many other 30 cals. And it's just how the chambering is and how your bullet load is. But that's what I shoot out of that one. I'm usually shooting a Berger 245 Elite bullet out of that, and has a great BC and does really well. So.
And how fast is that bullet coming out?
I'm usually running them about 2850. I know that there are people that are running them over 3,000 feet per second. I personally have liked being around 2850.
Yeah.
So if the temperature's high, it'll change it a little bit. You'll speed up. If the temperature's low, like you'll fluctuate on your speed given your temperature. But that seems to be my happy spot right about there. Yep. And then we have a 37 XC. So David Tubb did that cartridge, and it shoots the 375 bullet, and that's one of my ELR heavy rounds. That gun, a friend of mine, Mark Burgess, he's big in the ELR community. He chambered that up for me, made that gun for me. I'd been wanting a 37 XC for a long time, and I had some issues with my other heavy gun, and he spun that up for me and put it all together, and he's like, here, you need this, and it's been awesome. So I really enjoyed it. He's a great guy. He puts together a lot of guns for people in the ELR heavy community.
Oh, really?
So Mark Burgess, really good. You should check him out.
Is that the red or the FDE?
So that's the red one. We could bring that over if you want.
Let's just go ahead and move over there.
So these are a couple of my ELR heavy guns. This is the one that Mark Burgess built. The chassis is real similar to the other one. This is McCreary's chassis. He had partnered up later with Bipod Extender, and because he started building these into the chassis. So Mark had this one and had a tack driver action and spun up the barrel for me, and I threw on the scope. Got a Terminator T5 brake on there, and an Accutac bipod. So this one has the extender on it. This is chambered in 37XC. So that case, you can have them neck to a 33, a 37, or 41. David Tubbs had done it that way. I went ahead and did the 37XC. So they are all a Lapua bolt face. So same bolt face as my Norma, but it's a bigger cartridge and a bigger bullet. So I'm running out of this one a laser. It's a cutting edge laser. That one is a, what grain? I'm trying to remember what grain bullet that one is. I think that's a 402 grain. Then this one behind it, I don't know if you can see that. Do we need to move this?
Yeah.
Slide that over. It's a little heavier.
Yeah.
26,
I put my
26
biceps into it.
26 pounds versus what? 30?
About 46 pounds.
Jeez.
So this one is a Vitrix. They're an Italian-made chassis. They're real similar to Cadex. I don't know if Cadex and Vitrix would like me saying that, but as far as the look of them, the styling, they're very similar to a Cadex. I have a Cadex 50, and people look at it, they're like, oh, which one's which? And I'm like, oh, the gray one is the 50, and the FDE is the Vitrix. But anyway, they have really good actions. This one, unfortunately, the firing pin broke at my last match, and I'm waiting for a new firing pin from Italy. So FedEx lost the last one. It got to Salt Lake, and then it disappeared. So I have another one on the way, and then we can get this going. But this is chambered in a 408 Shytech. This is not the original barrel. This is a new barrel that Justin spun up for me. It's a K&P barrel. Much heavier, longer, and got the huge Terminator T6 brake on there. This thing shoots beautifully when the firing pin works. This has the clamp-on bipod extender that I was talking about.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah, this one is not built in. This one, it clamps on. So you could buy an extender for your existing gun, and it could be either a Picatinny or a Arca, and it'll clamp on the bottom, and then it'll extend out. So this thing, I mean, you get this to extend way out, like it'll telescope pretty far out if you want it to. So if you have a super long barrel, or you just want this to extend out further, you could do that. And it just changes your footprint of your whole shooting base. And I could free recoil this thing. This is a 408 Shytech, and I could be behind it, not have my shoulder against it, and it's fine shooting. It's wonderful. Between this brake and the weight of this and the bipod extender coming out, it's phenomenal.
Is the brake machined into the barrel? Like, is it part of the barrel, or is it still threaded on?
It's threaded on. So Justin tapered this for me and got her to make it look like it's.
It looked like it was
done.
machined.
Yeah, he did.
Barrel.
He does a really good job. He's an excellent gunsmith. He has Kinport Peak rifles, and he's done a lot of my barrels and put together a lot of guns for me. So he's in Chubbuck by Pocatello.
That'll be the guy that does my next 300 Win Mag barrel.
Yeah, he's an excellent gunsmith, and he's a really good ELR shooter. This year he tore it up in the ELR light and did really well in the ELR heavy as well. And next year we'll see. We'll see if I could chase him a little bit, but he's excellent.
So one thing I've been contemplating a lot lately is what the gun does as soon as you pull the trigger. And does it matter? You know?
Matters a lot, yeah. So one of the things we point out in our kind of basic ELR shooting classes is if you watch a slow motion video of a bullet leaving the barrel from a high powered rifle, you're going to see movement from that recoil before the bullet leaves the barrel. That's important to know, in my opinion, because any movement the gun does before the bullet leaves, the time between when you see the crosshair on your target and you're squeezing the trigger and that firing pin hits the primer, between that time and when the bullet leaves, which we can't really register, it's too fast, but the bullet knows. I mean, the bullet's going to react because of it. will throw you off target. So if you allow recoil to push the gun left, right, up, down, it will change where your bullet heads downrange. So that's really important to know. The bipod extender really helps that because you're extending your base out, which helps you from teetering, like having a pivot point on your gun. If you were to bring your bipod back here, and you've got a lot of weight here, and your gun has recoil in it and it teeters, that can change your point of impact. In fact, Zach Quintana was up here and he was doing a match. He was doing some testing between his bipod and his tripod. Tripod was mounted further back, bipod was further up. And he noticed that his impact was about an MOA or 0.3 different at 100 yards between a bipod and a tripod with his gun. And that has a lot to do with that pivot point, if you will, of your gun changing its direction before the bullet leaves. And all of a sudden you're striking a different spot downrange. So knowing that, you want to keep your gun super stable through the entire process. So if you can be super consistent and allow the recoil to happen so that there's as minimal impact on the barrel moving before the bullet leaves, the better. After that, it's more about you seeing the impact. So if you have jump on your barrel, you still want to be able to see your impact. So if you can keep it tame, that helps.
Talk about the prisms, what they do.
Yeah, so a couple of different types here. This is a Terac Charlie. It can mount either to the front of your scope with magnets, and then you can do a bolt here to hold it on so it doesn't move and recoil. They also have what's called a delta, which offsets your mirrors basically to go off to the side, because at some point your angle is going to be such that you're going to see the end of your barrel. So going out a couple of miles, I don't need the delta on this. It doesn't get to the point where I can't see beyond the end of the barrel. Basically, what the prism does is it uses mirrors to change your zero. So if I have this off, I can, this is an MOA scope. So with the Night Force ATAC-R or Attacker 525, I have about 120 MOA on the turret. And then you've got more in your reticle. So I can use my scope only and go out to about 130, 140 MOA, which will put me out at about maybe 2,600 yards at the speed of the bullet. Past that, I don't have any more in the turret. So if I bring this back to 0, this is currently set. You could adjust these to kind of whatever you want, up to about 250 MOA. This one is set at 121 MOA. You put that on, now this is at 0, your crosshairs are 121 MOA shifted. And then you start dialing from there. So then I can go up to 241 MOA between the turret and the Charlie. So that's one system. Another system, Night Force came out with what they call a wedge. Looks like clear glass if you just kind of look at it, but that will clamp on the front. You have to have a rail or a bridge with a rail, and it does the same thing. It has the way the prism works. They have them in 50 MOA or 100 MOA. And so you could even stack them. You could put 2, 3, 4, you put as many as you want on here. At some point you're going to see your barrel because it's going to keep shifting it down. But you could use those as well.
Yeah. Yeah, the light ELR match we shot in August, Cody ran out of turret on his gun. Yeah.
Oh.
So that's why he never hit the 2140, was he ran out of turret. So he was kind of bummed.
Yeah, if you have, some of the turrets don't go, it doesn't give you as much. So like the 735 ATAC-R, TACR, I think it goes 90, if I remember correctly, in MOA, so the equivalent of a mil. But for MOA, I think it goes only 90 or 95, I can't remember, somewhere around there. But you can, I mean, I think there's a Zeiss scope that can go 160.
Oh, wow.
Something like that. So it just depends, but you're...
So could Cody just buy one of those and then he'd just throw it on and
Yep.
he'd be good to go?
Yeah, he can, as long as he has something to mount it to.
Right.
They do have a version like this where I think it's an aftermarket, but
okay.
It is a magnet that you can put on, just like the Charlie will mount either way as well. But Night Force comes with the clamp.
Do you have to use a Night Force scope?
No,
Oh, okay.
any scope.
Any scope.
So
Nice.
really, it's the mirrors. It's basically the prism works independent of the scope, but it works in conjunction with it.
Gotcha.
So it is simply mirrors, and so once the mirrors are aligned correctly, then it just shifts your crosshairs. So you're still looking through your scope. You still have the same view. It's just shifted. So all of a sudden, you're now looking at the ground. If you're looking at, your 100-yard board and you put that on, all of a sudden you're looking at the ground way in front of it.
Right. Nice. What is the cost on this particular prism?
These are about $1,000 each. Whether you get the 50 or the 100, it doesn't matter. They're about the same price.
Okay.
The nice thing is you could take this and you could just put it on any gun.
Yeah.
Like you could share it between people. They're super easy. You just do it. Now this theoretically is the same way. You could use this on any gun. It's just the mounting system. Like this one is mounted by magnet, so I've got this clamp on here, so it's not as easy. You can mount this on a rail just like this as well.
Gotcha.
And then you can move it gun to gun.
Okay, excellent. Like I said earlier, these guns are the most technologically advanced guns in ELRs from what I know. So that gives you a good up-to-date idea of what's available. So,
Yeah, there's a lot of good systems out there. Getting a good action is really helpful. You have something that can handle the pressures and certainly sized for it.
right.
So what ranges are you focusing for this gun? What
Distances?
Yeah.
So these are ELR heavy guns. So you're usually shooting 2,000 to 2 miles plus.
Dude, that's a long shot.
With these, yeah. Let's come down, huh? The 375 caliber, which is what the 37XC is, has gotten really popular in the ELR world because it does great going out 2 miles and beyond. So 375 Shy-Tech, 375 Enabler, those really have done extremely well. And the 37XC, which is the same bullet. I know like Chase Stroud has set some great records with it. A lot of people have shot consistently 2 miles and beyond with the 375. It's a little cheaper to shoot because your powder, your bullet, your case is usually a little cheaper. So that's an advantage. But you're using a little bit lighter bullet. When you jump up to, say, a 408, 416, 460, all those, it starts to go up in price with every shot.
So, for the ELR Light, are you going to go to this gun next year?
No, this is a
I mean, not
375.
Not ELR,
So
like the heavy, sorry.
the heavy. Yeah, I'm between these two guns.
Yeah.
I'll be using. I'll take both of these probably at each competition, decide there which one I'm going to go with, given how they're shooting and the conditions and.
So if you feel like you're going to have more wind, you're going to go with the bigger gun, I guess?
Probably, yeah. I just have to see how they're shooting and where we're shooting. So you go to different elevations, you go to different temperatures and humidity, barometric pressure. You may find that day one is going to shoot a little bit better than the other. I like them both. They're both fantastic. A lot of people in the ELR heavy world have moved away from the 408 Chi-Tech. I haven't yet. Maybe I'm stubborn, but we'll see.
What's driving that? Just performance out of the smaller guns?
Yeah, I think that's got to be part of it. Like they're either going 375 route or jumping up to a 416 or a 460. The 460s are big. You're dealing with a lot more recoil, bigger bullet. You're shooting, possibly a 700 grain bullet or 650 grain bullet, and it's a lot of recoil management. They're heavy. They're big.
Well, and I mean the recoil will take a toll on your body.
It can, yeah. I could actually shoot this all day long and not have any problem. So it's got a heavy enough barrel, a good break, that it's not a problem for me to shoot this. Now, if I was going to shoot a 460, I might decide I'm done after, you go through a few stages. It's a lot. So
those 338 Lapuas, the kids quit shooting them because it's just too much.
Yeah, but you can tame those down a bit as well. But yes, I mean, the difference between shooting that and shooting a Win Mag, for instance, huge difference, right? The percussion, your recoil, everything is just totally different. But you can tame them down. You get a really good break on. You weigh the gun down. You put a bipod extender on. Those things will help tame that.
So what would you say the percentage is on the bipod extender?
What do you mean percentages?
Yeah, what would be the percentage of less recoil would you experience, you think?
I think it really depends upon the gun. But I notice a difference. I don't know percentage-wise. It feels a lot more stable. And I feel like the recoil management, the whole impulse that you get is different.
Oh, so it changes how the gun feels as opposed to recoil. Not recoil. I don't want to say recoil, man. Just recoil in itself.
The recoil and how it affects the way that the gun and you manage that recoil.
Right.
It changes. So you're extending your base out. I mean, think about if you have a tripod and you bring the legs in tight, the chance of you tipping that tripod over are much higher versus if you spread those legs really, really wide. Mm-hmm. The stability of that is just so much greater. So it's the same principle as far as stability of your setup, but also how the impulse goes through and works with that whole gun system changes. And I think it's pretty hard to beat it.
Gotcha.
And really the results show you go to an ELR match, a traditional ELR match, and I was just down in Raton at the Whittington Center a couple months ago, and I think everybody had some sort of bipod extender on.
Okay, yeah.
Or they had it built into their chassis.
So out of curiosity, because you mentioned one time that was like, even if for like harmonics of the barrel, where you had a buddy who had a blade of grass that was on the barrel or something was touching.
Drew was telling a pine needle or something.
Yeah, I think Corey Christiansen mentioned this. So
maybe that's
so a friend of his who's a gunsmith had built a client a rifle that shot incredible groups, and the client was a competitive shooter. So he was just getting great results. All of a sudden, he was getting terrible groupings. His groupings opened up. He was like, the gun's done, something's wrong. Seemed like it was too early for the barrel to be worn out. Took it back to the gunsmiths, like, hey, can you look at this, figure out what's going on? He took the action and the barreled action out of the stock, and there was a leaf in between the stock and the barrel. And it changed the harmonics. And so it just shot completely different.
The reason I ask is because I look at your brake and then how it sits
Yeah.
on that. I don't know if that would affect it or because it's so consistent.
I move that
You move
so
it?
it's not hitting
Okay.
it. Yeah, but yeah, you do have to be really careful. In fact, on that gun, when I first put my suppressor on with the cover, the suppressor cover touched the end of it. And actually, Daniel, who owns Accuracy Solutions, he came out last year, he was sponsoring, and he's like, hey, Doug, look at that. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, shoot. So I had to, but luckily I could slide that and I could move it out of the way. So I did, and then
But
improved
that's
my
something you
shooting.
could be shooting along and not even notice and wondering why you're not hitting nothing and
Yeah.
figure it out, make a correction, and you're good to
can.
go.
Yeah, the nice thing about these is it's so easy to just, loosen that and you can move that in or out, get it out of the way. This also has an extender to bring it up higher. I don't have to have that on, so this could actually be mounted back here, and then this would extend forward and it would change the amount. So just depends upon how you set it up. Like this one doesn't have this piece right here.
Yeah.
So this is an extent, it lifts it up so that you're closer to the barrel. And this one doesn't have it on, that one doesn't have it on. But a lot of little things you could do to adjust it for your setup.
Okay. Well, great information. Appreciate you hosting us here at Cabin One.
Yeah.
So anyway, Jordan, you got anything else?
No questions yet. I know that you're. I'm happy to be here. I'm always happy to be here. No, I haven't gone into long range. Well, ELR, I guess, because at what point are you calling it long range and ELR? And like what caliber, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy how once you start shooting those longer distances, how comfortable you become. Because now, we've shot my 17-inch target at a mile now, with my 300 Win Mag, and I'm like, that's fairly comfortable now.
Under an MOA at a mile, right? We have, we do a lot of instruction here at the ranch, and many of the groups that come in, whether it's a family reunion or a corporate group or whoever, or a group of buddies, the most common is we do a long range experience. So it's a few hours long. We have our guns, and we'll take them through our own little process of getting comfortable and learning how to manage that gun correctly, how to deal with the recoil properly, how to set yourself up. And then we have them shooting out at 1,000 yards pretty quickly. And most people will, within an hour or so, they'll be shooting 1,000 yards. And we could do the same thing going out to a mile. We usually end the basic class at 1,000 yards. We have a 1 MOA plate, so it's about 10 inches at 1,000 yards. And they could earn a little challenge coin if they hit that within 3 shots. And we've had quite a few people do that, even brand new shooters. Drew was teaching a class. I think I was in Raton shooting, and we had a group that came in, and there was one of the guys. He was kind of a shooter. His wife was not into guns at all, but she ended up doing the class, and she was kind of like, I don't really want to shoot those bigger guns. They were only shooting 6mm Creeds, so they were suppressed and everything was pretty calm. But finally she got comfortable. She started shooting and was doing okay. Came time to do the challenge. And so Drew just kind of went down the line and said, okay, let's everybody do the challenge. Her husband shot, hit a first round impact, jumped up, super excited. He's like, yeah. And Drew's like, well, you got 2 more rounds. He goes, I don't need to shoot 2 more. And he goes, no, just shoot the other 2. Let's see if you could do it. And I think he either missed the next 2 or hit one of them. I can't remember. And he was really stoked, which is, I mean, you should be proud of that. Shooting a 6mm Creed at 1,000 yards, 1 MOA plate, especially with a little bit of wind that we could have there and the challenges. That is certainly something to be proud of. So went down the line. His wife was one of the last people. And she was like, I don't want to shoot. I don't want to shoot. And I think her husband kind of goaded her in finally. He's like, come on, just shoot. And Drew was encouraging her. She's like, okay. So she got behind the gun. All 3 rounds. Impact, impact, impact.
No kidding.
And her husband just kind of stood there. I was like, really? And she's like, oh, was that good? Like,
No,
she aced it.
Longer range better than I can because she's more almost calmer. It's something with her heart rate or how, I don't know, but she was shooting better than I was.
We actually find that women, when we have, let's say, any group of newish shooters, and they may have shot before, they may have done a little bit here, but not necessarily competitive shooters. So they may or may not have been behind a gun before. But if you take any group, the women will generally shoot better than the men. And we'll tell them all that. We're like, hey, guys, you got to step up your game. Your wives are going to beat you. And they're like, oh, no, she doesn't shoot. She doesn't. And they'll come behind, and they'll usually shoot better. Not always, but usually they'll shoot better than the men. It's then when the guys really start to practice, then they pass up their wives because their wives aren't necessarily practicing all the time.
Right.
But we've had some ladies who are competitive shooters come here and mop the floor. We have a couple, they came up and stayed for her birthday, but they come and attend our matches. And it's a husband and wife. And last year, his wife was one of the top shooters in the whole thing. And she's fantastic. Ray Hong came last year. I don't know if you know her.
Ray from
She does
Accutac.
9 dolls. Yeah, she's sponsored by Accutac. She has, I think on YouTube and Instagram, hers is called 9_dolls.
Oh, okay. I'll look her up.
Wonderful person.
Absolutely.
And she is one of the best female ELR shooters out there.
Yeah.
And she shot all over. She's done extremely well.
Yep.
She hasn't been shooting that long, but she's just taken it by storm. She's really good.
Yep.
She actually works with a whole bunch of disciplines, but she has taken to ELR and done really well. And couldn't be a nicer person out there. She's just wonderful. So
Yeah.
the nice thing, and I mentioned this to you and some others, that like Ray, Zach Quintana, some of these other people on YouTube that are in the shooting world are just genuine. Like you can't meet nicer people. They're the same people on camera as off camera. They're not putting on an act. And it's really refreshing to see that. And you go and talk to them and they're more than willing to help you. New shooters come in, they'll put their arm around them and say, hey, let me help you. And that's the cool thing about our shooting community.
Yeah. Yeah, when my 6.5 Creedmoor, the windage turret got messed up somehow.
I remember
at that match, and both Ray and Zach jumped in. They're like, "Oh, let's get you back on zero,"
Yeah.
And so we seriously zeroed my gun at 1,000 yards.
Right, I remember that.
Zach was looking through his binoculars. He had the reticle in there. Ray was doing the same thing, spotting for me. Got me back in the match pretty quick. Jumped on that stage, hit 4 deer targets at. No, I didn't get the last one. That updraft got me, but hit 3 of them.
1,400 yards.
Yeah, first round impacts. And then the crazy thing was, I took the gun back down to the range at town. At 100 yards, I was only 2/10 to the right. So.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, great people. They were not going to let me quit.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we'll get you back in. And Ray's handy enough. I mean, you wouldn't think a female would be that technically.
She's
savvy.
really good.
Yeah, but
she knows her stuff.
Yeah, she absolutely does.
Yeah,
So.
she gets in there. She's She's brilliant. She actually has had other careers that are more technical.
Oh, yeah.
But she's really good. So you had the right people helping you. That's for
I
sure.
did.
I remember that happening at the match, and I was the match director, and I was kind of running, and so I didn't have time. But we had, I think, a stage that wasn't being used that day, and so I think they got you on that stage.
Yeah, we had already shot that stage, or stage before that was our last one.
Yeah. So we had an open stage, and they helped you. And the shocking thing was that made that even more impressive is you were shooting over a canyon with some pretty gnarly winds, and it was your wind turret that had come loose.
Yeah.
And to get you 2/10 on windage, and I think that was probably, 900 yards or 1,000 yards?
It was 1,000 yards, yeah.
Yeah. That was impressive.
Yeah,
So
it was fun.
Zach and Ray came through for you.
Yep,
So,
good people. So,
excellent.
if you're looking for some new YouTube heroes, look those guys up.
Yeah, they're both really good. Zach does their content is very practical and, unvarnished. Like they'll just tell you like it is. And so, really good people.
Yeah.
We've been fortunate here at the ranch to host a lot of events have a lot of amazing people come through, and I try to be a sponge and just learn everything I can from all of them. That's the great thing about having the ranch here, and so it's fun.
Yeah, it's definitely been a huge blessing in the life of my family. We're just doing things we never thought we would do before till we started coming up here, and Cody attributes a lot of his success to Drew and his knowledge of reloading. Right. So now he's taken that knowledge and he's helping people, out to our range, which is absolutely amazing. So
Drew's really good. So Drew's my son. He works here at the ranch, and he's a competitive shooter. He's an instructor. Yeah. Really good, and he's great working with people. He loves Cody, so those two might as well be brothers.
Well, I mean, you get those guys together, and wow, they're a hoot. So.
But yeah, it's just fun. We really enjoy when people come out and shoot. I mean, anything we could do to help people advance their shooting skills, become more confident in their shooting, we love it. So it's a lot of fun. Having the gun club here has been fantastic. We have a lot of really good competitive shooters and people that just want to recreational shoot. That's fine. It's great. And they learn a lot, become better shooters, and some of them help RO our matches, and it's wonderful. I appreciate you and your wife ROing. That was invaluable. So
yeah, we love it. It's a good time.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be where I'm at without you guys in the facility. In education and shooting. I mean, big jump start in shooting with you guys firsthand, and then your facility and your stuff you put on. So
you've got some great mentors.
Yeah. Well, again, it just comes down to the community.
Yeah.
People who want to actually teach and supply resources, and makes it a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's great. Anything that has a trigger, I love it. So
and just so people know, Doug shoots a pistol very well.
I do okay. I haven't shot in a competition yet.
Yeah, you have. The 2-gun.
Yeah, that's true. The 2-gun.
Yeah.
3-gun. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you did. Yeah, you shot a shot.
But not a pistol-only match. So.
Yeah. Well, it's the same. It's the same.
Someday I will. I've been focused on this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we need to start having some, little matches at your lower range. Maybe do some still challenge, stuff like that. Maybe get some more people involved. Tyson and I were talking about that last time at the 2-gun match, trying to figure out maybe.
Have you been to our tactical range yet?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we can do a lot of move and shoot. We got mountains all around, so it's nice to be able to shoot any direction, and it's contained.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice.
Yep. Maybe just try to, get a few more people involved, help them with their pistol shooting skills. Mm-hmm. Seems to be like that's becoming invaluable nowadays.
Right.
So I seen a report, 48% of shootings have been stopped by citizens with firearms.
Really?
Yeah, 48%. So, you know, the FBI was actually like fudging those numbers. They didn't want people to know that the armed citizen is that powerful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the most recent numbers, 48%.
Well,
So,
and unfortunately, you never know when and where.
Yep.
And so if you're prepared personally to protect yourself and the people around you, then our community's safer.
Yep.
One thing I really enjoy with our club and a lot of the training that happens here is gun safety in general, you know, handling the gun safely. And when you then apply that in your home and you teach your kids, and I like having the kids come up because they learn to respect the firearms, they learn how to handle them properly under adult supervision, and that they're not toys, they're not to be played with in that sense. But I really appreciate that because I think our community is safer when people are handling firearms correctly and they teach that in their home, so that their kids know, hey, you know, don't get into dad's stuff or mom's stuff, that they should be locked away, but in the event they're able to get to something, that they know how to handle things safely, and if they're ever in trouble and as they get older, they can handle themselves correctly. So
yeah, so another study that I saw, the kids that learn gun safety at a young age do not become active shooters.
I believe it.
I do too.
Because you learn a better respect for life, you learn a better respect for the firearm, and
Yeah.
I think it's not tantalizing to do something awful with them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the pattern, you know, most of the people that have committed active shootings have little to no training. And so, you know, thank goodness, because, you know, a lot of times they get shut down by a malfunction, you know, so that helps. But yeah, so I thought that was very encouraging. I'm actually, after I heard that, I'm going to start maybe having some youth gun safety classes, you know, start teaching some kids with 22s and that sort of thing, you know, so.
We like having the 22 matches up here for that kind of a gateway to give parents an opportunity to bring their kids up, shoot the 22 matches, and that be a platform to talk about gun safety and have them appreciate the importance of being safe with firearms. So.
Oh, so that's
really
one of
like
the
it.
reasons why you do a 22 match.
That's a big reason why we do
Oh,
them.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it is. You know, we've been fortunate enough to have some really amazing 22 competitive shooters here, and like one of the guys in the club, I mean, he's now an extremely good hunter class shooter, and he's just all around phenomenal. But we've had some competitive shooters from the region come and shoot here. But more, I mean, I want to give opportunity for everyone to come and shoot, but specifically we're trying to encourage the community, bring your kids out, have them shoot. We have guns here, so if they need to rent one, if they have, you know, just some gun, just bring it, let's shoot it. And it gives an opportunity for the parents to have the kids in a controlled environment where they're shooting properly around people that know how to handle and appreciate firearms, and then they could take those discussions home and make sure that the kids understand that they're fun, but they're not toys in the sense to handle them improperly.
Right. Well, with that being said, I think we'll wrap it up. And thank you, Doug, for hosting us once again. And till next time.